Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is the 2017 Top 10 Movies of the Year.
Dun, dun, dun.
We're going to do a top 10 list. We're going to kind of steal the format from the Top 10 show with John Roca and Matt Nost. And how we're going to do it is she's going to give her 10 through 6. I'm going to give my 10 through 6, and then we're going to go your 5, my 5, your 5, until we get to a point where we get to our ones. And then if we have, in the top 5, if we have one, maybe that's like one, I'll have one higher than yours, we'll wait to talk about it until we get to the higher number.
Okay.
Is that the plan?
Sure.
Okay, and one other thing that we want to tell everybody, too, as we go through this is we did a really, really good job of going to see movies this year. A lot of that was because of the Movie Pass, allowed us to catch up stuff maybe a couple days after that first opening weekend, or like 3 billboards, like, a month after it came out because we couldn't find it. But we haven't had the chance to catch up with everything. So there's going to be stuff missing from our list that came out in the last about week and a half because of the holidays. So Jumanji, Shape of Water, Darkest Hour, all of that kind of stuff, The Greatest Showman, all of that stuff is just not going to be on our list because, well, we haven't seen it yet. And
We've had things to do.
Well, holidays and kids and grandkids and Last Jedi. Important stuff. Like
but
Last
we saw
Jedi.
that twice.
I would like to go see it again. I know where it's not going to be on your list, so whatever. We wanted to let everybody know that this is not the definitive list. This is my favorite list, my favorite movies of the year, her favorite movies of the year, not our favorite movies. We're not going to do like a combined thing.
And not the critics' favorite.
Not the critics' favorites. And maybe there might be a couple in here, too, that I liked a lot or she liked a lot, but... And the Dollar Cup is out already. But there maybe we liked them, but maybe they didn't score as high as, let's say, something else. Right. So it's
because you got to narrow it down to 10.
Right. And
we saw a lot.
We have a spreadsheet for the year because my wife is over organized, and my initial list was 20.
Right. Out of the probably 35.
Out of the 35. So So I'm going to start with some honorable mentions.
Okay.
So just like, I have 5 honorable mentions, movies that I just want to bring up for the year.
I have 3.
And you have 3. Okay.
Yep.
Do you want to do your 3 first?
Sure. My 3 honorable mentions are Gerald's Game.
And that was also on my list.
John Wick 2.
It was not on my list.
And Spider-Man Homecoming.
Spider-Man Homecoming was on my list. It did not make my top 10. It again, good, but once you start doing the more movies, you start pairing things out and
narrowing it down. Yep.
The ones I wanted to mention: Homecoming, Guardians 2. I love Guardians 2. I absolutely love Guardians 2. Apparently, I was the only person in the world who liked Guardians 2. It ranked really... I scored it really high. I've watched it a bunch of times since then. It's still really good. Get Out did not make my top 10.
Wow.
It was 11.
Wow.
Right. And I think part of that, too, was how late in the year we saw it.
Okay.
Because we didn't see it when it was out in theaters. Atomic Blonde.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked Atomic Blonde. Probably one of the 2 or 3 best fight scenes in the entire year is that in that movie.
Yeah,
and then
it was good.
I just want to bring it up because everybody hated it and it panned the box office. But I fucking liked King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. I don't fucking care what everybody else says. I love that movie.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous and fun and just talking about great fight scenes. And I just love the way it was shot and just, So,
yeah.
All right. That was my honorable mentions. Okay. So you're 10 to 6.
Okay. Starting with 10.
Starting with 10, working your way up to 6.
So number 10 is Big Sick.
Okay.
Number 9. Get Out.
Okay.
Number 8, Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
10, 9, 8. Number 7.
You should probably number these.
Disaster Artist.
Okay.
And number 6 was It.
Okay.
The Losers Club.
The Losers Club. I have at number 10 is Big Sick.
Oh.
9 is Ragnarok. It is 8. 7 is Split.
Oh. Ooh.
And 6 is Logan. So we have some crossover there.
Wow.
So
You rate those low.
There's going to be a couple things in there that I think you're going to be surprised by.
All right.
So at least for our lists, that from 10 to 6, so we had some crossovers. So Big Sick.
Big Sick. Yeah.
Just we talked about in the show. It was surprisingly.
Yeah. It was
good.
a good. It was kind of a boy meets girl story. The story was basic, but the execution of the story was really good and really funny.
And it helped that the guy who wrote it, God, I can't remember his name. Anyways, the guy who wrote it, it's about his life, and he's in it. He plays the main guy. So that was really good. Ragnarok, again, that was both of ours list.
Yep. Yeah.
Again, a lot of fun. Very much outside of the normal MCU
superhero movie,
kind of thing. Just Taika Waititi, the director, just awesome. His character's right there. So you know how much we love it when we got a pop of them sitting on the. We both had it in our 6 to 10.
Yep.
This is one of the ones I actually want to talk about a lot. Not a lot, where I wanted to. It was. We talked about it when we did our review. I don't do horror films. I don't like horror films. I like suspense films. Gerald's Game was kind of a suspense movie.
Yeah.
And Split was too. But just it was so well done.
It was, yeah.
And I just thought it was awesome.
I appreciate it. Well, I mean, that's why I did a honorable mention for Gerald's Game, because those were 2 movies of Stephen King's that came out this year where they were faithful to as faithful as they could be to the book, which is, as a Stephen King fan, what we want.
Right.
And when they're good.
Yeah.
And so we're vindicated. We're like, see,
I've been telling you the whole goddamn time.
it's good. And it was a scary movie, but there's
a couple jump scares, but
there was a story to it. It wasn't,
It was more of a coming of age story, than it was with the horror tropes than it was the other way around.
Right.
And then I think that was it. And I had Logan at 6.
Yeah.
So I'm
Which
sure
is
going to be higher on your
low.
list.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's our 6 to 10. Now we're going to really dive into the top 5, and we're going to have each of us spend time on whatever our 5 is, unless we have something that's a higher ranked. And then we'll wait until we get to that higher ranking. So your number 5 is?
Number 5 is Blade Runner 2049.
We're gonna punt.
Okay.
I'm higher than that.
Okay.
So my number 5 is Baby Driver.
That's my number 4.
Okay, so we can talk about it now.
We'll talk about it now.
We'll talk about it now. All right, so it's your number 4, so you can go talk about how you want to.
Talk about it first?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, it was a good freaking movie. I mean, first of all, it was, who was the director?
Edgar
Wright. And, we love Scott
Pilgrim and Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. And just, good writing, good, like I really loved the action lining up with the music. Everything from him walking down the street in the opening scene to, the gunfire and and all of that. And the cast was amazing.
So well done. They did such a good job with the cast.
Yeah.
And everybody came to play. Like,
even though, Kevin Spacey is pariah now, but, he's a big name actor to be playing in this kind of little movie, and he took it seriously and he did a good job.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. I just, the overall feel of that movie is just it's so much fun. fun is kind of got to be like a recurring theme for me with some of these movies. But in the grand scheme of things, like this was one of those movies that like when the trailer came out, everybody's like, "What? Edgar Wright's doing some movie? All right, it'll make $25 or $30 million. It looks like fun, and that'll be it." And then it came out, and everybody started watching it, and they realized, wait, there's actually like layers and substance and stuff to this movie, Baby, who's the actor's name I cannot remember right now. His relationship with his foster dad, who's deaf, and he singing and dancing in the apartment and stuff. And that was a nice little touch. Gave him a little bit of humanity to even though he was doing all these crimes and stuff. Yeah. And so that was just, I just thought it was cool, like how well they just all the way around. And we've watched it a bunch of times since then, and it will be it'll be in our loop of, hey, it's a Saturday afternoon, let's throw a movie. You want to watch Baby Driver, that kind of thing. Yeah. And the soundtrack is totally worth it.
Yeah, which Edgar Wright is really big on music, in his movies. So.
Right. So that was my 5, your 4.
Yes.
Okay, so my 4 was Disaster Artist.
Oh.
We have not seen The Room. We're trying to go Friday. We have this bar, or it's called the Film Bar. It's a bar with a movie theater in it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try to go. They're doing a screening of it on Friday, so it's a large crowd kind of thing, and going with a big group of people, and we're gonna try to get some of our friends to go with us. And if we can't, then they're doing that wide release in January, so maybe we'll try to do that. The Phantom. The Phantom. We'll try to. But we want to see The Room with a large audience and stuff. We don't want to just watch it on our computer or whatever. But not knowing really anything about the Room, and then kind of reading up on it and everything that kind of happened and stuff around it, and then going to see the film, and then after the film going home and like learning about Tommy Wiseau and everything that happened, actually what happened behind the scenes of making this movie. And the Francos are so good.
They are.
And they do such a great job. Like James Franco is just, he's got to get a nomination for as good as he was.
Yeah.
He's so believable as Tommy.
Yeah.
And you don't know that until you've actually gone and either seen the Room or seen interviews with Tommy.
Right. Or the after credit scene that Tommy actually shows up in, and you're like, I'm having a hard time telling who's who.
Right. It was so surprising to me. That was the same thing with Baby Driver. It was such a surprising movie. Everything else on my list was stuff that I knew was coming out, and I did a bunch of research, and I knew a lot of the stuff that was going on. But this one and Baby Driver both were just so out of left field, so not expected, and I had so much fun. And after Disaster Artist, I kept thinking about it, and keep thinking about it, and I wanted to go see it again. And
that's kind of the criteria for me in narrowing the movies down is, do I want to see it again? Do I think about it the next day or several days later? Yeah. And do I continue to talk to people about, oh, you should go see this? And Baby Driver and Disaster Artist are both. Yeah. We were just talking about Disaster Artist a couple days ago.
Yeah. Yeah, with the family at the holidays.
Yeah.
We were telling everybody about it. So,
good.
Definitely worth it. So that was my 4. So your 3?
My 3 is 4, 3, Split.
Okay. So.
And you had Split.
I had Split at 7. So it's not that far apart.
Yeah.
So.
I just.
James McAvoy. Conversation's over.
Yeah. I just ranked it pretty high because it was so surprising to me. It was not what I was expecting at all. I think kind of the only reason we went and saw it was because it was M. Night Shyamalan, and we really loved his early stuff.
Yeah.
And then he had a couple movies that everybody was like, "Oh, these are horrible." And,
he had some serious messed ups.
Yeah, and that just kind of turned us off from seeing him.
Right.
And then this one was just so different, and I don't even know why, maybe it was because we were hearing people saying good things about it or
Yeah,
whatever, and we're like,
yeah.
okay,
The
we'll
guys
go.
at Collider were like, "You need to go see Split.
Yeah,
Like like support this movie. Go see it."
yeah, and I think if that hadn't happened, we probably wouldn't have seen it at least as early as we had in the movie
It
theater.
probably would have been what we ended up doing with Get Out and Big Sick, and wait until it came out
Yeah,
on Netflix or something like
yeah, or
that. And then
Redbox or something.
and I
Yeah,
think that's maybe part of the problem that I had with Get Out and Big Sick was that we saw them so late in the year, and we heard all of this great stuff about it. Now it's on this huge pedestal and
yeah,
that kind of
that
thing.
always kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, it was just surprising. Even still, like I want to go watch it right now.
Yeah, yeah. We bought it. We bought it
Yeah. Oh yeah.
on Blu-ray, and just obviously the James McAvoy and what he was able to do and be all these different
Amazing.
characters and how he was able to change from one character to the next without any cuts in the scene and
And
how
without saying anything, they
yeah.
just show his face, and you
Yeah.
could tell that he was now
I was
this new person.
I would love to see him get a nomination. I don't Oscar nomination. I don't think it's going to happen because that movie came out in January and everybody's forgot about it.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of sad. But this is on the same level as James Franco we're talking about with Disaster Artist. It's the
Yeah.
same kind of performance. It just happened in January and not in December.
Yeah.
And the same with everybody's saying about Gary Oldman and The Darkest Hour.
Yeah.
That kind of same level of performance. And I just hope the Academy is able. Fuck the Golden Globes. The Academy. I want the Academy to be the one to come in and say, okay, that was a performance worth a nomination. Now, do I think it's gonna win? No. Do I think it's gonna get? I don't even think he'll get nominated. But
Yeah,
it
probably.
should be. It should be.
And I think that they just, that's not what they were thinking about when they
No.
released it,
No.
right? It was because M. Night Shyamalan's had such
January and early February is where you dump movies
yeah.
to get away to get them to go away. You know, and so that was a kind of a the studio didn't want to put any money behind it because M. Night had such a bad track record, and he actually got some of it back with The Visit.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
heard that.
even that one, they didn't even like promote from the director of
Well,
Signs and,
yeah.
and Sixth Sense. Like he was like a secondary thing,
because Signs and Sixth Sense were like
right?
1990s.
Yeah. But the last few that he had done before that too, with The Happening, and
Yeah, they're not going to
After
bring
Earth
those
or whatever.
out
Yeah,
because they were horrible.
and Last Airbreaker, Airbender. So all of those were like, you just
Yeah.
wipe those from existence. They don't
Yeah.
exist. But yeah, just such a good movie.
Yep.
My three, I know it's a really big surprise from everybody. Ooh, is Last Jedi. Yes, I know there's problems with the movie. Yes, I know that the internet has no fucking clue what they're talking about. This has been a long discussion in our house. I really loved this movie. She's okay with it.
After seeing it the second time, I'm better because I'm not so angry is probably too strong of a word, but like kind of let down. All the things I was expecting to
Right,
happen weren't
right,
happening.
right.
So I was able to go the second time and just watch it for what it was. So I felt better about it when we left. But the things that I had problems with, I still had problems with.
Yeah, and I get all of that. I get that there's the Cantu Bite stuff and the Rose Finn relationship. The chemistry just isn't there as good as it needs to be.
Yeah. And the Phasma fight scene.
The
was...
Phasma, that's my biggest gripe is the Phasma stuff. The Cantu Bite stuff I can actually look at and say, okay, this is prequel era. Like they're directly looking at the prequel era stuff.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
But there's I'm not going to spoil it. It's only about for 2 weeks, but there's scenes in this movie that are going to be talked about in the lore of Star Wars for the next 30 years.
There's some amazing
There's
stuff.
just the way it's shot, the way it's set up, and Adam Driver and Mark Hamill are both amazing in this movie. As much as Daisy Ridley kind of carried the first one, and John Boyega was kind of like that other character, Mark Hamill and Adam Driver were the stars in this movie, and
Yeah.
they just did such a good job. Adam Driver won't get a nomination; it's just not going to happen. But he should be in the conversation, and Mark Hamill should get a Best Supporting Actor, partly for his kind of lifetime achievement kind of thing. But they've done that before. How they gave freaking Leonardo DiCaprio the best Oscar for Revenant, and that wasn't even like his best role that year.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so the Academy's kind of weird like that. But it was just the opening scene with the slowest bombers on on Earth and.
Well, they aren't on Earth. But...
Okay, in space, and that scene with the Supreme Leader Snoke's ship, and that scene, I'm not going to tell you, but that scene, they're actually starting to post things telling people the sound is not broken. I'm telling you, the sound is not broken. That's how the scene was supposed to be done.
Right.
So,
because when we saw it the first time, I was like, "Is
what
something
happened?"
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Oh, okay, it's back.
And then the second time, we're like, but
and the grand boy even went,
whoa, yeah. And he was like not feeling good when that scene happened. So even he and his headache, I've been coughing for 4 hours, he's like, whoa. And then I was like, whoa. And then he was like, whoa. Okay, so that was my number 3. Your number 2.
My number 2 is Logan.
All right.
You know, it's Hugh Jackman, first of all. It's
talk about Lifetime Achievement Awards.
Yeah.
That character.
Well, it just, I mean, he's in the Greatest Show on Earth, right?
Greatest Showman, yeah.
Greatest Showman on Earth. He can sing. He can play a Wolverine. He can do anything. But just I was like, oh yeah, Thor's the only kind of superhero, whatever, comic book hero movie on my list. And then I was like, oh no,
Logan.
Logan is a comic book movie, but you almost don't think of it like that.
It's not. It's not a superhero movie. It just happens to have superheroes in it.
Yeah, people that can shoot metal claws out of their hands.
Right.
Yeah, I just thought it was a really good movie.
It was so cool. Him and Patrick Stewart both do amazing jobs. They both brought it in this movie, both understanding that this is probably going to be the last time they've been doing, they're going to do this. And that both of those actors have been playing these characters for 17 years.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's a long time.
Wow.
And that just doesn't, and in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, you were lucky to get somebody to do a sequel.
Yeah.
Let alone do
10 movies.
10 plus movies or whatever, or 10 years of the same character.
Yeah.
And that's sitcom stuff, right?
Yeah.
You hope to get on a sitcom and be there till it gets into syndication and whatever.
They all kind of have the opposite problem, right? They can't get time away to do the other fluff stuff.
Yeah.
that they want to do.
Yeah. And so, it was so well done. It was, it's a Western, it's a road trip movie. It's father late in his life teaching his son how to be a dad to his daughter, even though they're not really related to each other. And just,
Yeah. And it's, I was like, oh, it's like it's definitely my favorite X-Men movie, but I don't even consider it to be an X-Men movie.
Welcome to the X-Men universe where continuity means nothing.
Yeah. Well, it's just so different.
Yeah. So Dark Phoenix I think is supposed to be in the Logan time period, and maybe so is the New Mutants. New Mutants is supposed to be in that Logan universe.
Oh, okay.
And then Dark Phoenix is in that Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I was gonna say it should be right after Days of Future Past,
so all that, which
I really liked. Also, I know a lot of critics didn't, but whatever, I liked it.
Days of Future Past was so good.
Yeah,
that was 15. I just really, really, really well done. I still want to watch the black and white version. We have it. We have the black and white version.
Yeah.
The noir kind of version.
Yeah.
See how it feels. My number 2 is Blade Runner 2049.
Okay.
talking about movies that stuck with me the whole year.
Yeah.
And that came out in June, July, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a movie that I didn't know I wanted to see until I saw the trailer, because I love the director's cut, the director's whatever they call it, extended cut or whatever,
Yeah.
Of the first Blade Runner, and the fact that it's so well told as a story, even though at the time it bombed, the original one did, and it got big over time, and then they decided to do a new one, and I'm like, do we really need to go back to that universe and really need to go back into that? And I was, very hesitant about it. And then they saw the first trailer, and I saw how it was looked and how it was shot.
Yeah.
And then we went and saw it, and I just, it's one of the few movies, like we talked about with Disaster Artist, where I went back afterwards and wanted to learn more about the universe, and how it was done and how it was shot, and like all the, like, just so much of the other stuff. The difference with this one is this payroll was $180 million or $200 million or whatever it was, and Disaster Artist was like $35 million, right?
Yeah.
And so,
because one's a sci-fi movie and one's
and
not.
Denis Villeneuve is now my favorite director right now, until Quentin comes out with something else, Star Trek, But yeah, I just Ryan Gosling is so good in it, and Harrison Ford actually like showed up. He was really good in it
for the most part.
And the girl that was the love program, I cannot remember her name. Replicant.
Yeah.
She was so well done.
Yeah.
Like, just how emotionally connecting she was without really being emotional. And it was the same thing with Ryan Gosling's character.
Yeah.
And just, you actually felt for them, even though they just didn't have much emotion to emit out,
Right.
but they were able to the storytelling process and the way they were performed, the actors performed was just, it was just so awesome.
Yeah. Well, I will say that my top 5 are, they're close. You know, they're all like real close in ranking, but you gotta pick one over the other. So
I knew what my number 1, 2, and 3 were, and then everything else was kind of figuring it out where I wanted to kind of put it in everywhere else.
Yeah.
I only know because I looked over your shoulder and saw what you had. So our number 1s is Dunkirk.
Big surprise.
All right, go ahead.
It was a fucking amazing.
It's the one movie this year where we walked out and went and got back in line to see if we can go see it again.
We were like, we need to go see this immediately.
Yeah. Not that we were able to, because it was sold out, because we went and saw it in IMAX.
Yeah.
And it was sold out. Actually, the rest of the night was sold out. When part of the reason this movie is number 1 for me, the first trailer came out in January or December of last year or January of this year. And not a whole lot of talking in it. The whole movie doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue.
No,
but the trailer itself came out. Not a whole lot of dialogue. I did a trailer reaction to it, and I was just floored by it.
And I was like,
and she was like, I don't really care.
No.
And then we went to Phoenix Comic-Con, and they had a trailer set up with
a trailer
for trailers. Malkovich. And they had speakers on the floor, and it was like a really high resolution projection screen.
Yeah.
And they showed us 5 minutes of the movie, and we went and just kind of, it was at the end of one of the nights, and they were still open, so we went in and sat down and watched it. And we walked out, and she's like, "We have to see this movie."
I didn't want to leave. I was like, "Wait, no, I want to see more. I'm not done yet."
And then the whole experience of going and seeing the movie in IMAX.
Yeah.
That probably affects our score a little bit differently than, like, this is the only IMAX movie we saw all year.
Yeah, but maybe Blade Runner would have...
we saw Blade Runner IMAX. No, we saw no, it was Adobe Theater.
That would have been kind of the only other one that you'd really maybe really want to see in IMAX.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was so much about this movie that I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And that's so cool. And that's so cool. And that's so cool.
And a few scenes where you're like,
yeah, just the shots and yeah, they're bombing and you're like, and the planes and the sounds in the planes and how real everything was, and there wasn't a whole lot of dialogue, but there was stuff that happened that you felt for, right? You felt for several of the characters, and yeah, I just I thought it was an awesome movie.
I like the. It took me about halfway through the movie to understand the storytelling process that they chose.
Yeah. That was maybe the worst. It's a bad word to use, but
that was the one thing, because it was such an unusual storytelling process, which is why I think a lot of people struggled with the movie. Is that there's not a lot of character development, there's not a lot of dialogue, and the storytelling process is so different than anything that's ever happened.
Right.
So a lot of people are going to expect an XYZ play by numbers war movie, and this wasn't that.
Yeah.
It's not a war movie. It is an escapism movie. It's not like I'm trying to escape reality for 2.5 hours. It's them trying to fucking escape from France.
Yeah.
and just the way the story is told and the different parts and just how everything was affected by something else, but you don't know it until like the last 10 minutes.
Right. Because of the way it was told.
Yeah.
Because, and because on the beach was a week and in the air was a day, and on the water
was like 12 hours, something like that.
Yeah. It was.
We have to watch it again just to get all the details and stuff. But
it just came out. We haven't bought it yet, but so it takes you like halfway through the movie to kind of figure that out. But going back and thinking about it, if they had done it like kind of the regular way, what are you going to talk about on the beach for a week?
Right.
They're just trying to get off the beach.
And they're just trying to survive on the beach.
Yeah.
And that's all they're really, they're pinned on the beach with nowhere really to go.
Yeah. So that is it a survival story of, how they get food and water. And they kind of talk about that a little bit in like the one part where the guy's he's just trying to take a shit.
That's all he's trying to do.
And that kind of encapsulates the whole struggle in just that one scene, right? You've got all your day-to-day needs that you're trying to figure out what 10,000 people or whatever.
It was 400,000 people off the beach.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So on this beach, and how do you feed them? You can't get food in there. They can't drink the seawater. They've got to poop.
And there's no shelter.
Yeah.
There's so you're getting blasted by the channel winds because it's right there,
and then bombed constantly.
and then bombed from the Germans on the other side.
Yeah.
So very medieval kind of warfare with the hunkered down, and we're just trying to survive long enough till reinforcements get here.
Yeah.
And the reinforcements ends up being the civilian ships that are across, because it's only 26 miles from Dover to Calais, and so Calais is like just down the coast from Dunkirk, and so the English boats going across the channel just because they kept blowing up everything, and so they just send everyone,
Well, and I'm sure that it would probably have been harder to, you're talking about a little personal craft, right? Versus a big
destroyers or whatever.
Yeah, those are easy to bomb, but a little tiny ship,
Fucking
even a bunch of them.
Fucking Germans not fighting well. They're fighting fairly. So what we're saying was Dunkirk was our favorite movie of the year, if you haven't figured this out yet. One other movie that we didn't put on the list, but I feel like it's important that we mention it, was Wonder Woman. Now, Wonder Woman was a really good movie. We really liked it. All the stuff that happened around Wonder Woman is a bigger deal than actually the movie itself.
Yeah.
I liked the movie. It was cool. I'm not really happy with Ares at the end. I think you're kind of the same way too.
Yeah.
But I feel like we have to talk about it because of the culture that's going on in the country right now. That you didn't pick Wonder Woman because you're sexist. No, that's not it. This was our favorite movies of the year, and that
it was an okay movie. It was,
I enjoy watching it when I'll put it on or whatever, and and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was Justice League. It was okay.
Yeah,
but not my top 10.
And not
but everything that happened. I mean, the fact that Patty Jenkins is now getting paid.
Yeah,
and
Gal Gadot is doing, is it Grey Goose commercials now?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like just all like that movie. If we're talking about important movies for the year, Wonder Woman's number 1, Dunkirk's number 2, that kind of stuff. And so, and Darkest Hour would be on that list and stuff. So so I just wanted to, I don't want the internet to kind of go, ooh, you didn't have Wonder Woman. Sorry guys, it's our list, and this was stuff that we liked.
Yeah,
and obviously I like the sci-fi stuff a lot more than I had 3 in my top 10 or 3 in my top 5 or whatever. So there's a big surprise, right?
Yeah, I like more of the thinking movies.
Yeah, and this is exactly what our relationship is like.
It is.
So that's our top 10 list for this year. We will have no show next week for the New Year's, and then we will start doing shows again on, I guess it would be the 8th.
Yep.
And we will start doing, we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to do some of our more movie review. We're going to actually do movie reviews separate from each other. That way it's easier for us to find them towards the end of the year.
Thank you.
And we're going to change our main show a little bit. We might do 1 or 2 topics instead of doing 7 or 8 kind of things. And then we'll keep doing trailer reactions and Comic-Con stuff and all that kind of things. And so it's pop culture. So we're going to talk about all kinds of different things. So sometimes we'll talk about movies, and sometimes we'll talk about, we'll spend the entire episode talking about con or something. So
right.
That's kind of what we're thinking, at least for right now. And like always, please like this video and leave us a comment. What was your top 10 movies this year? What were some of the things that we didn't see that you really liked? Or maybe you saw something that was on our list and you're like, you're fucking crazy. Last Jedi's terrible. Like everybody else on the internet.
Don't comment if that's your... We don't want to open that can of worms.
That's true. Also, please subscribe to this channel. Like I said, we're gonna start adding more content after the first of the year. Shorter videos, but more of them, so we can get more people out there. And we'd like you very much to share this channel with your friends. We're trying to build this community. We've got 125 followers on YouTube, 300 on Facebook, 300 plus on Stardust. So we're getting there. We're getting there. But we always want more and more people to talk to and talk with about movies and TVs and comic books and cons and that kind of thing. So please subscribe. Please follow us on Facebook at the Pop Culture Cult. We're Pop Culture Cult 1 on Instagram, and we're at Pop_Cult1 on Twitter. We're also on the Stardust app. Download it for free. Follow Pop Culture Cult first, and react to everything that you're watching, like the toys that made us. It's a lot of fun.
And bright.
So for the year of 2017, this is our last episode. Any last words? Any famous last words?
I'm glad this fucking year's over.
And until next time, bye, Felicia.